Okay, one CD in the bottom. This lot is all here. As you'll see, this has got a little couple of switches here that this arm hits. So when you put this in here, keep an eye on that as it moves through the discs. And you can see it's moving from loaded to unloaded state, stepping up through the mechanism. So it's basically a flywheel that tells it to stop moving and drawing things. Look, it's locked in the top position without a disc in it. There we go. And if we go to the front of the car, turn it on. So radio. CD1. There we go. That is a CDR, cheap CD, blank CDR from Tesco or something. We just recorded a bunch of our MP3s on, and that's it. When you open this up, that needs a little bit of prying open. It's got a hinge on it, and that'll pop out, and then it'll come out. Don't pull it straight out because you'll rip it out. Inside you've got a ribbon connector, which looks like it'll just fall out or tears. There's a little clip in it on the side. Just be very gentle with that. But yeah, gotta close this back up, get the housing on it. Okay, so when you get to this bit, this ribbon part here, looks like it won't come off. You've just got two small clips either side. It'll pop off gently and the thing will just spring out. This is what they call a ribbon connector. It's very fragile. Do not bend or fart about with it. Should be okay. The rest of this here is what you see on the outside. You don't need to take that screw off to get it off. And I'm going to put this back together. But before I do, I'll show you the parts I run silicon on. So basically, this mechanism here is the bit that pulls the tray out. Where's the tray? I'll just bring it. Okay, top. Yeah, so let's rearrange this a little. So when you put this in with one or more or all CDs filled, it pulls that out, checks it, and that's the position it's going to come across. And it does that immediately as you load the cassette in there, whether you're using it or not, the stereo's on or off or not. It just checks it every time you put this in into here if it's got a disc in it. So when you turn it on, it's not going through that all the time. Now what the problem is, I'm not going to plug it all the way in, but when you push that all the way in, this little thing here is meant to hook onto this and pulls it out one by one as it's going through. This whole mechanism goes up and down. It's very sturdy, very strong, but don't be fooled by it. It is still very sensitive. And I'm just closing that back in. And it goes through each disc in there. Now, what I've done is I've noticed that these two little switches here don't free up as well as they should do. This little mechanism here, you can probably see, is probably got too much silicon gel on it, or silicon grease, sorry. And silicon grease is a form of non-conductive lubricant that a lot of electronics companies use. It's relatively safe. If you've got a 12-year-old Alpine Multichanger, you can buy a new one, or a gubbed one on eBay for a few pounds. You'll see when you take the first case off, though, this is all pretty seized. This is not moving. This will actually be quite sticky. But if you just gently tease it, the teeth will move, and you can see that start to move around. That'll allow you to get some lubricant into at least some parts of it. And I've also lubricated this part here, this bit here, and this bit here. And as it's been moved around, it will stick on occasion because I think there's bits of old dried out lubricant in there that's jamming it up. This part here doesn't really need any lubrication. The rails themselves, they wouldn't hurt to have a little bit, just a finger smudge of that, not too much, nothing that's going to be able to be wiped off, but just enough on the surface. And at the front, this is the part that makes it move up and down. This was really dry and dried out with crusty bits of old lubrication. That's what I first saw. You can probably still see some here. There's some of the white stuff that's coming up. That's the old stuff that's dried out. The same's happened in here. So putting the silicone grease in there and putting some here helps that all work a bit better as well. You've probably resigned it to the bin. You've probably thought, well, I'll give it a try, like I did. But just put a spot of lubricant on there and there and move it around there. I actually took this out, as you saw earlier, or later on. Don't know how I'm going to edit this. I took this out, plugged it in, and checked it whilst it was in there. So I'm going to put this back together. Just a thing to notice that when you go to take this off, the first thing you want to take off is the screws off this metal housing at the sides. And this part here will slide off the back once you take this screw. Again, you'll see the ribbon, you'll see me disconnect this ribbon part here. Just be careful with that. And really what you're doing is you're trying to press down these clips and take them off, but don't force it just yet. Just get them all loosened off at the top and then get them all loosened off at the bottom. The top part, once you've done the screws, will give you a bit of give. You'll probably want to bend out the sides a little and just get a small flathead screwdriver into the sides of what this looks like here, because this part clips on quite snugly onto that frame. There's no hard catches there, but they will give. They might break, don't worry about it if they do, just be gentle as you can, but it will come away with a bit of force. Certainly a bit more force than it took to get the front, top and bottom parts off. So I'm going to put this back together. I'm thinking the order I put this back in is making sure that these little springs and foam things are basically the suspension of your CDRs or your CD player, are intact. They pop back on if you fall off, by the way. Don't cry too much if they come off, don't panic. But once your housing is in, they will never come off again. But I'm going to put this big part on top. And you just close that down like that. Let's try to pop out there. There we go. Aye, I fucking knew that wasn't happy. Just make sure that's alright. Clip. Good. Once it's all backed on, you've got the metal is pretty robust, and it's, you know, you can see it's all ready to get screwed back in. So what we're going to do now, with the magazine case, the CD magazine out, going to put these boys back in here, and hopefully it should just clip in. Might need a little bit of persuasion. Yeah, the top part is going to be the easier part, I think. But you can see it's all very interlocking. This is pretty well made, in fact. I think I'm going to have a bit of a wrestle with this, actually, to be honest. And I need to do the base at the same time. You can see the base is actually already halfway clipped on, like that. So I'm just going to get one more guy in. And that, once it's got a bit of force, and this will tighten up once the screws come in play, but that's pretty much what it's like when you take the screws off. It'll feel even more solid. I've bent this panel out of shape and I'm about to screw these side screws back on. So, vertical, all nice and in, all nice and solid. Not so sure about the case in the front though. About it. This bit is tricky because you've got these and that going here and here. Yep, just going out, and you've got this part which is going to go from that to that. First you've got to get the ribbon in. How did I do this last time? It goes this way. Yeah, make sure that's down, gently sliding. Yeah, that's right. And then getting that part there. Really, yeah, that's a bit. And then you've got this bit here at the front, so that just then goes like that. This is tight as a drum, this wee thing. And where's that other screw in? There we go. There we go. Maplins, £5. I can't even.
So the CD Multichanger is now stepping through all the discs, and it's making a noise. You can hear an extra bit of noise as it pulls out and reads. So I'm going to close this. We're going to go up to the front of the car. We're going to see. Okay, so as you can see, what said no disc before now says, and we're going to change the discs. There we go, changing disc, and away it goes. Cool, good luck, let us know how you got on.